On today's episode of Watch JR Go, the newly painted and cleaned engine and transmission go in for hopefully the last time. Of course, it'll probably come back out farther into the future, but this time we're hoping that we don't have to take it out again until Cleetus and Cars, or well, after, obviously. What is going on, guys? I'm Watch JR Go, and here we have, take a look inside the engine bay, a very black engine bay. And Josh just went crazy with the spray paint. He was like, turn it all black, turn it into a void. So it is now a void. I went to Ace Hardware and I got gold spray paint. He was like, pick something for the transmission. And I was like, yeah, that sounds right. It's a Rolls Royce, you gotta have gold. So we went with the gold. The engine is clean. Take a look at that. It looks like bare aluminum, which is what it should look like. Very, very nice. Freshly cleaned up LS6 from old J&J right there. So we've still got the engine on the hoist. Transmission just needs blocked up. We're gonna lift the car back up, put all this back in, and bolt it together like we're actually gonna run it this time. So we're gonna move some things around. I'm gonna hop in here, vacuum out some metal shavings, little things like that, and we're just gonna get to work. This took an unbelievable amount of crawling around underneath the car, but I was able to finally get the old steel drive shaft out. Pretty excited, and we have to go get this end here that bolts up to the diff, put on this drive shaft, and it needs to be shortened a little bit. So we're gonna end up with like a 63-inch drive shaft. This one's like 69. The aluminum drive shaft weighs so much less. Also, I just spent the last like 3 hours laying under the car, cutting out hydraulic lines, and I'm still not done. That's how wild the rear suspension lines are. Take a look at all that junk there. Those are the height leveling valves. Yeah, that was a lot of cutting just to get that part out. Everything's kind of cut out, and there's just more and more stuff that's like bolted up to subframes and stuff like that. And it's pretty painstaking, just sitting in there, cutting lines, pulling out bolts, and I'm using the bolt cutters at this point to pull out those hydraulic lines. All that's gonna be left is real brakes. Normal, master cylinder based brakes. We are here at Performance Welding Solutions, and Ryan here just finished welding up our manifold, our custom built manifold that turns the exhaust just like that, so it all fits. Let's run inside and pick this up. What's up?
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good, man. How about you? Josh is coming with here.
Busy.
That looks amazing. That's better than stock. Basically recast. I love it. Sweet. Well, now all we gotta do is take these home and sandblast them and
Put them on.
yeah, we're gonna make them pretty. Spray paint. Even better. It's just Krylon, because honestly, everything I spray with nice paint never works out for me. It always looks horrible. So I was like, let's get Krylon. So we got the Color Max XX. That's how you know it's twice as powerful. And I think the engine bay looks incredible already. It's looking fancy. So now
It's the Krylon touch, man.
just give it the old Krylon touch. This is the filler plate to make the cross member whole again down there, and that's gonna look super nice. So Josh is like ready to jump in here.
I am.
He's in diving mode. He's like, I'm suited up, man.
Going in.
All right, let's fire up the Weldar.
Welding in house slippers and shorts.
It's summertime, right?
That's how it's done, kids. This is really how it's done in most shops, I think.
Yeah. You ready for some power? Or do you want some vice grips or anything?
I'm just gonna make some tacks real quick.
Okay. All right. And now the transmission is going to be coated with, you know, the lap of luxury itself. Pure gold. This is 14 karat. That's what I read on the tag at the store. It doesn't say it on the can, don't worry about that. But this is legit gold. So we're gold plating the transmission, and should look real fancy here in a minute. Also, we did a lot of masking. I even did the barcode and the tag over there just to make it look really good. We want it to look like an RPM. That's basically what we're going for. Custom built RPM. Cops are coming. we've got the transmission sitting there about ready to go in, and we were thinking maybe we should do the inlines for the transcooler. So we are going to do the inlines for the transcooler. Wow, that does work better than they said, doesn't it? Super easy. Okay, so which direction? In forward? Yeah. So you take your, this is a 6A inline, Earls fittings, Earls Pro Line 390, super, super nice 500 PSI line. Insert that bad boy right there, and then take a 3/4 inch socket and keep the impact in forward, and put on the bottom of the AN line here.
I drove it a little far.
A little too far? Not enough to catch. It should be like right at the edge, huh? Sweet. So now we just need to screw that guy together. These are gonna be super, super nice. We have an entire 33-foot roll of AN line. We're gonna thread this down to follow the fuel line and the nitrous line and leave it connected so we can cut it to fit once everything's in, once the transcooler has a location. There it went. Okay. This is some super stiff stuff. One very, 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 very long transmission cooler line. Ready to go. There we go.
Double Dutch?
Yeah, it's the workout. This is CrossFit.
CrossFit.
Check this out. That looks unbelievable. AN lines for the transcooler. I've never done anything like this in my life. I always just put back the GM stuff. It's all hardlined. It works fine, but this is so pretty. It's the Earls 390, like I said, 6AN fittings, and it has the Earls 4L80 adapters because there's a sprayer for the 4L80. You can't just hook AN lines up to it with adapters. So we ordered all of that stuff from Holly, and it's all so nice. It's unbelievable how good that is. Energy suspension mount going. There's the mount. There's the gold. Big Hydromatic logo. Okay, you're about to clear the converter. One pump. Converter is in. It's up there. Let's go line up some dowels and get this transmission in for real. We've got a little bit of a surprise for you guys. I am unbelievably happy about what's in this bag. Our friend Corbin Goodwin, the one who built the Rolls Royce, the big turbo one where all the piping runs over the car, gave me a little tip. He was like, replace every one of those brake lines braided stainless, and these were all made for us yesterday right here in town. So we have crush washers on this set. This set here runs from the subframe over to the body because there's 2 lines to each wheel and 2 calipers on each wheel in the front. So these are our front subframe ones, and we have 4, oops, dropping them. I think there were supposed to be 8 of these, but oh well. We will go back and get more. We were able to send these lines off to a guy right here in town. He turned these around in one day, and we have all these beautiful brake lines. And I think it's right about the same price as Goodrich line. Stainless braided. He was like, pick any color you want. I was like, we do not care. Silver's great. So we're gonna hop in here now. And
shop local.
Yeah, that's as shop local as it gets. The guy actually came here to check out the Rolls Royce. His name's Kim. He builds these lines. He's based in Newton. If you need stainless lines near Wichita, that's who you should talk to. And now that everything is back in the car, we can start mocking up the cooling system for real. So we have our Frostbite radiator and the Frostbite like billet fitting. Yeah, throw it on the cart. Throw it on the desk over here. God, what is this fancy stuff? And we are going to pull these caps out and install our billet fittings here. They're we're gonna say billet as many times as possible because people aren't mentioning it. So fancy. Also, take a look at our brake lines. I just finished getting those in there. Oh, it's so good. This is very customized. It's built for the Camaro. It like perfectly fits the Camaro, and we thought it perfectly fit our dimensions, but it's a little big. So some changes have to be made.
Friction fit.
Friction fit, and we have the tabs bent backwards to actually mount the thing into the grill there. So
it's not the prettiest thing, but
no, it works. That's what matters.
We need to get the brake master mounted before we figure out where we're going to mount the cross member for the trans.
We do need to get the rest of the brakes done too.
There's an interference issue there.
Oh man, the brakes are such a thing. I don't know, you guys saw a little bit of this where we mounted the master up underneath the floor, right where the brake, whatever that thing was. I I was going to say proportioning valve, but it's
Something
like the
valve.
high pressure variable braking system valve, you know.
What do you pull off, like 12 lines from that thing?
It's insane. And then cut all the lines out the other night, so we've got some room in the back. A lot of cutting. But the weight reduction, I think those valves were like 3 pounds each. So, I mean, just like what I cut out of the back was probably 20 pounds after all the trash came out. Insane. So, trying to save weight for that, you know, drag race.
The hashtag race car thing.
Race car. Josh is standing with that new little Milwaukee die grinder. So fancy. Radiator clearance achieved. Break out the die grinder and the grinder, and it's finished. We would love to start this engine. As you can see, it's got a little ways to go, but we need to get the wiring harness through here for the Terminator. So there is a giant hole that had a big rubber grommet. They would put the steering shaft over there in the right-hand drive cars, and it's just completely mirrored on the firewall. So kind of cool that the car's symmetrical for that. This is the grommet that goes in there. Josh is trying to find a very large drill bit, hole saw.
Trying to find a drill now.
Well, they're gone.
I know, right?
They just up and left. And if you guys didn't already know, it's time to ruin the surprise. I don't know how much of a surprise it is at this point. We are doing a Terminator to manage this thing. So it's actually a Terminator X Max for the LS1 and LS6. It has the correct 24X crank reluctor pickup. We got the power cable for the Terminator on there right now. We've got trans control. There's the trans harness right there. Absolutely awesome. Now, this giant wiring harness just has to somehow go through the firewall, and then we can mount this inside. We want that to be as far up under the floor as we can get it, so there's no water ingress or anything like that, and nobody's kicking it. And it has auto tune, so amazing.
So will sound good?
Yeah, that's what auto tune's for. T-Pain's here, and we are calling it for today. Look at that, the engine's in, the trans is in. Almost all. I've got one more nut to tighten down on the brake lines, all of our new stainless braided sauce. Really pumped about that. Our frostbite radiator and its fittings are in. As you can see, the frame was chopped and lowered in there with a new piece of metal. Josh welded all that up. So now we have clearance for the hoses, and the radiator sits low enough that the hood doesn't hit. So we locked it up and tried out the hood. And we were like, we don't want to cut the hood. It's just too much work, honestly. So it just needed a little corner notch, but this is so much cleaner, so nice. And then we spent the last quite a few minutes getting all of the Terminator wiring through the floorboard. So check this out. Open the door, we'll come inside here, and you can see that factory looking install for the Terminator. The Terminator will sit way up inside the dash, but everything's hooked up. This is drive-by-wire. These are the engine harnesses. Map, we gotta run a hose through there. And we also have the transmission control right there. The last connector is, of course, that 40 amp power wire right there. The dash has been in, as you guys have seen. All we have to do now is hook up it's just one CAN bus connector to the dash, and it's good to go. There's a whole bunch of extra I/O we can use the dash for. We are gonna use that for some of the stuff like nitrous control. Nitrous activation will be done on the Terminator. That way we don't have to mess around with any wide open throttle switches or anything like that. We still have to mount a pedal. So that is on the to-do list. I'll show you some video as we make that. We cut the stem off the Rolls Royce pedal right there. Did a little grinding on that until I got it almost flush, and we're gonna put that back so it looks stock. And I think we're gonna use the Rolls Royce brake pedal too. So that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching Project Roll Smoke. Take a look at that. It's pretty mocked up, pretty done. We could put the intake on at this point. Honestly, we could start the engine. We're sitting here thinking the only thing we're missing is a fuel filter and a drive shaft, and the car could drive. Our MechMan billet alternator is on the way. Super excited about that. It's gonna help complete the all billet inside the hood look that we've got going on here, and it's just gonna look beautiful. The nitrous system's basically done. I mean, all the lines are into the trunk. We need to mount the bottle bracket, but we're down to like finishing touches at this point. We never thought this was gonna happen. It all kind of came together in one day. It just seemed like the grind was never gonna end. So little things, brake pads, wheels need to go off to powder coat, all that fun stuff, but we're getting there, at least somewhat closer. It is all those little things that nickel and dime you to death and take all your time. Hopefully it doesn't take too long. Anyway, Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to head on over to shopwatchjairgo.com. I'm looking at like the final renders of the Rolls Smoke t-shirt right now. Hopefully that's up later today. We'll see what's going on with that. Thank you again so much for watching. And please like, share, subscribe, do whatever you want to do. And I will talk to you next time. Ooh. I mean, when today started, it was an empty engine bay. And I never thought it would come together like this. Josh and I are both out here like, did this car just get finished in a day? I mean, it's assembled, it's together. Converter bolts need to go in, but like, we just need a drive shaft and a fuel filter. It's so close. Power steering lines need made. You do like, you kind of walk around, you see more and more and more things that need done. Factory harness needs maybe cleaned up. We don't know what connected to the old engine. This is how you power the interior. That needs power. Little things like that, but we're getting there.